taxes. The Republican president.
Finally!
Where will they come out on taxes?
I wonder how they feel about taxes.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go with lower. They're going to say they want lower taxes.
Less taxes.
Okay.
Reform it.
Aside from the Kasich and Trump disagreeing on whether or not we should get 11 million people on buses and send them out of here, I feel like they have so many candidates, no disagreement.
No disagreement.
Tax policy, regulations, sure, they would set the flat tax at a slightly different, ridiculous, fantastical number, but they all agree that we should have one. They all agree we should have less regulations. They don't disagree. What do they need 8 candidates for?
Let's talk about the corporate tax rate, because this is a lie that Republicans buy into all the time, right? Like, Republican politicians will spout this lie, and then Republican supporters believe it. They think that corporations and the wealthiest people in this country pay more in taxes than any other country in the world. They genuinely believe that. They don't take into account corporate tax cuts. They don't take into account that, like, back in 2009, companies like Verizon essentially paid nothing in taxes, and they got a tax refund on top of it, right? So really, that's a high tax rate for companies.
But Verizon is a struggling small business.
That's true. That's true.
Because they're not about the big businesses that are all donating millions of dollars to their campaigns. They're about the small businesses. The small business is such a cover for big business, right? The reality is the big businesses get these huge advantages. For example, in Louisiana alone, it's a recent story we did about David Vitter. Since 2008, the oil companies have gotten $2.4 billion in subsidies in just one state, right? So now what does that mean? That means small business that's trying to compete with those companies doesn't stand a chance. They're not getting the same subsidies. They're not getting the same unfair breaks. They're not the benefactors of crony capitalism. So they get crushed. And so these guys that are on the stage pretending to be in favor of small business actually set the rules against small business. Walmart, they give Walmart all these advantages, and what do? They run the mom and pops shops out of business all across the country. No, they hate small business. It's just an excuse to give away more to the rich. And that's what this whole debate's about.
$100, they don't mention that. 10-to-1 odds. No one makes that point, and they still won't ask Donald Trump what he wants to do to fix the election campaign finance thing. If everybody up there is bought but him, what is his plan to fix it? They'll know that.
He doesn't care. He's got the money to run. He
got a follow-up question to Ben Carson. That fucking one decent question.
By the way, all the Republicans crying about earlier debates has worked, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I know it's Fox Business, but remember even the first Fox News debate with the Republicans, they had some tough questions, which Donald Trump and some of the others cried about, right? So now there are no tough questions. Every question is an enormous softball with absolutely no follow-up, right?
Oh, they started the undercard, by the way, telling the candidates, be careful not to look weak and whiny. But for some reason here, they don't have to worry about it. They're not going to look weak and whiny because your candidacy has always been about honesty and truth. Now talk to us for a minute.
I know.
Like that's the hardest question. That's the hardest question that came up so far.
And then he lies about what he said, and there's no follow-up. So he goes, oh, wow, okay, so it is about honesty and trustworthy.
So when the Republicans got together with the RNC to come up with new rules for the debates, they specifically said that those debate rules wouldn't impact this debate, right? I wonder why. It's not going to impact this debate because this debate is just going to give you a platform to lie about anything you want to lie about.
Yeah, Fox has got their back anyway.
Yeah.
Shows how the conference